Let's go ahead and take what we learned from template number 1 and apply it to this other example that we're going to be demonstrating. So I'm going to take the same image, drag it in, but this time when we place it, I'm going to use the pen tool instead of the smudge tool. So with the pen tool, instead of smudging out the sides, we're going to cut out the couple. So if I zoom in, the pen tool is great for getting into all these little corners and details and perfectly cutting them out. Okay, so I'm going to just be going around the couple all the way to the end here, and then we're going to be closing it off at the starting point. So with the pen tool, I'm just going to start on the outside here, and then I'm going to come back up and then make my next point there and just continue on making points. As I click and drag, you'll notice, if I zoom in, you'll notice these little arms start to come out when I drag away. These arms help to shape the line that comes from the 2 points. So as you can see there, if I stretch out more, it accentuates the line, and then I can bring it back here. So I'm going to go ahead and just go along the edge of the couple, and I'll just go ahead and fast forward through this part. Alright, so just to point out a few different tips on how you can control the anchor points as you place them. So let's say if I'm just going along and I place my next anchor point and I drag out this arm here, and then my next point I click, and I notice that it's not really on the spot that I want to, so I can hold the space bar and I can move that down. I'm still holding down on the click my mouse button, but I'm just placing it on a different spot now. So then I let go of the space bar, and now I can move this arm a little bit better. So that's kind of like one way you can do it. But let's say you're moving quite fast and you're trying to speed along through it. Another thing you can do is, if let's say you've made quite a few points and they ended up like so, what you can do to fix that is you can press the command key to bring up the selection tool, and then you can click on drag these anchor points back to where you want them to be. So I'll just click and drag this one there, this one here, and this one here. And then going back into the pen tool, all I did was just let go of the command key, and it'll take me back to the pen tool. So just a few things to kind of point out that you can do in case you're trying to get used to using the pen tool. There are some ways to correct the points that you've made. So I'll go ahead and continue skipping along through this, and I'll fast forward it. Alright, so as I come to the end, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this off out here, and I'm going off of the canvas, and I'm going to press command minus to zoom out. And we're going to go to the last point. When you hover over the very first point that you made, you'll notice a little circle that just indicates it's closing it off. So like so, it doesn't matter how this part looks like. I'm going to go in and press the selection at the top, and then I'm going to leave the feather at 0. If I were to raise up the feather, it would make it not so sharp around where I've selected, and kind of feather out those edges. So I'm just going to leave it as so there's no feather. So now we have a selection of the couple there, and good. So now I'm going to right click and rasterize the layer, and then I'm going to go to the mask here at the bottom. So now I just perfectly cut out the couple, and I'm free to kind of place them where I want them. Another thing too is that with the layer, you can still make those adjustments, just like how I mentioned in the previous videos, how the mask is only covering portions of the image, and it's helping you to cover those areas up without actually deleting the pixels. So with the brush tool, you can just come in here and we can kind of soften up these little portions right here. Alright, so that's pretty good for now. And we'll make some other adjustments later. So I'll actually adjust this bottom part right here. Alright, we'll go ahead and work with that for now. And so I'm going to go to the layer mask, right click on the layer mask and go to apply layer. Okay, and then we'll just place some like so, and I'm going to drag in another image. Just resize this down real quick. Enter. And I'm going to drag in a different background. So this is just a bokeh background that I picked from Unsplash, and I'm going to hold shift so I can drag this around. As you drag this around, it just makes those perfect degree angle placements. And I'm going to hold option and drag that out. Okay, let's place that there, and then I'm going to move the layer behind the couple so that way they can show through. So now with them there, you pretty much have the background cut out, and now you have a new background in place. And so this is where you can go in and use a smudge tool if you want to, and you can kind of smudge out more of them, like how we did in the previous one. So maybe a little bit up top. Just kind of give it some movement. Like so. And yeah, it looks pretty good right there. So then you can just continue on and making the photo boxes. Let's say you wanted this to be maybe just one box. You can, doesn't matter what the fill color is, honestly. It just matters on what the stroke is, but we'll get into layering and how you can use a texture to go on top of the border of your photo box. So if I were to just do that, and then I'll just leave it as white, but you know, you can make these boxes, maybe you wanted 2 vertical ones. So, and then this could be, you know, a 2 picture style template. And then just don't forget to organize your layers there. So if I just select those 2 and go to the group, and then just rename them. All right, so this is just a quick demonstration of how to use the pen tool and a little bit of the smudge tool. You notice I didn't use a lot of these tools. I only used 2 and a few of the organizing the layers, and that's produced a pretty decent template for a wedding couple. All right, so we're going to go along to the next example. It's going to be a graduate template, and I'm just going to be demonstrating again the same concept of the smudge tool and the pen tool, just in a different setting. All right, so I'll see you in the next video.